So here we've started, we're here for another episode of Disruptive Conversations. Today, my guest is Theo Koffler. We're waiting for everybody to come on and giving everyone a moment. This is going to be an extraordinary time because Theo is an extraordinary person. And the show taps into women from all different areas. I see that Theo is on, and as soon as she joins and I can get her on board here, we're going to move along because we've got so much to cover today that you don't want to miss a moment of it. So while we're here and we're waiting for Theo to come on, take a moment. This is such important info. So text a friend, let them know, let somebody know, who are you thinking about who could be helped by this? Who is it that you know that needs to hear this today to help enrich and move into what, at least for some of us, is going to be a long holiday weekend? So take that moment and make the connection. And here's Theo. She has requested, and we're going to go live. Little allergies happening. It happens to everyone. So we're waiting for Theo to come on. And here she is. So Theo, welcome. And I'm going to introduce the show and then introduce you, and we're going to move along. So welcome everyone to Disruptive Conversations. With thought leaders, entrepreneurs, influencers, authors, educators, in which we deep dive into the experiences these women have needed to navigate and conquer in order to achieve their personal and professional success. And so I'm Dr. RISA RYGER. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I'm an expert in change. I help people make positive change at any point. Now, you can't make positive change without disruption. You need to disrupt a thought, a feeling, a belief, a behavior in order to create your 10.0 life. And that's what this series of conversations is all about. And today, to move us along in the journey of doing that, we have my dear friend and colleague, Theo Koffler. Now, what I do know is that this is a small segment of her bio. So trust me, I can't remember all of this, and I'm going to just give you some highlights. So Theo is a pioneer, a visionary, an action taker. She's someone who can go from vision to implementation. And that's where we all want to be in the space of, is being able to take the incredible thoughts and ideas that we have and move them and make them part of reality. So Theo was the co-founder of a super farm with her father, a huge pharmacy chain. And after the birth of her second son, she was diagnosed with lupus. And so this is, we're talking about that today, is about the power of the pivot. And totally independently, this is what we know from Theo, that at that point, Theo had her first major pivot from her corporate career to exploring the role of social emotional intelligence and mindfulness on individual and societal well-being, which took the form of her being the founder, the creator, and the engine of Mindfulness Without Borders. She's a social entrepreneur and philanthropist, and she gifted all of Mindfulness Without Borders the intellectual property, and is currently providing free resources, tools, and practices to impact human flourishing in Next Pivot, Well-Being Essentials. And well-being, making change, having impact is where we all want to be. And Theo, let's say welcome. So happy that everyone is here to join us. Don't forget, let your friend know you're on. They don't want to miss this. And so Theo, welcome. So I've taken snippets from your bio, And please fill us in on what else would you like me and others to
Well,
know
first of all,
about
thank
you.
you for inviting me to this conversation. And it's just so wonderful to be online on Instagram and to be with your community. You've worked so hard to, to get your work in the world out and heard and valued by people. And I just am one of those friends of yours that really, really support your important work. So thank you. As for my bio, do you know, I feel so humbled by it, but at the same time, so grateful for the life I've had, including the huge challenges I've had over the years with my health. Actually, I think probably it's those challenges that and the adversity that I faced that have defined me today and have actually motivated me even further to be in service, to really be supportive of human flourishing, social connections, meaningful conversations, all those things that I see are part of the constitution of our humanity. So thank you.
So Theo, first question of a different kind of question is, could you talk to us and let us know about what is it that you needed to disrupt in yourself in order to create and to achieve the personal and professional success that you have at this moment in time? Because one of the things that we know is that this is this moment in time success and achievement, and there's more to come.
Well,
Fill us in.
it's such a large question, but I'll make every effort to answer it. I think that moment by moment, life is about a letting go process. It's about really letting go of who we think we are, all our stories, our narratives of the past, and really move and pivot into the present, what it is that I need to do, who am I today, and how can I be my best self in the moment. So that's the first thing. So I think the other thing is to be able to accept that our failures, our adversities can be our greatest gifts, and to really learn from them. So to take more agency over who we are and build that capacity to be our best selves. So in other words, continually rediscovering myself and accepting that, especially from, let's say, my diagnosis of lupus, I lost the Theo Koffler I knew. It took years to remount, to accept these changes, which, at the time when I was diagnosed with lupus, I was at the top of my game, working with my beloved brother, changing retailing in Israel, creating a national pharmacy, and I all that I had to let go in order to direct my attention to recovering from this diagnosis. So I think the discovery in principle is that we have what it takes to be our best selves when we pay attention to who we really are and we discover and explore that from within.
That's so beautiful. And so when we talk about paying attention, right? We pay attention to what's happening with other people. We pay attention to what's happening in the world, and taking time to pay attention and going inward for ourselves isn't just an opportunity just to be with you, but that in it, it's important and it's essential, because when you dig into what's going on in you, you can take that and bring it out. And so with your first pivot, you used that time to conceptualize vision and envision mindfulness without borders. You did work in Rwanda, and you're, correct me here, you're the first person to create such
Not
a
the
program.
first person, however, one of a founding group of people that were very interested at the time to develop educational programs for K to 12
Yes.
on social emotional learning and those skills that help students to navigate all of life. And so my direction,
Yes.
which was different than many, and where I believe I was one of the first. There were a few others, but my focus was to develop curriculum that was for high school students before they leaped into their adult lives, so that the curriculum could be a catalyst for personal development, for character development, for skills development, so that they were equipped with what they needed to become adults and lead their adult lives. So in a way where we were very, very innovative was within the high school curriculum, the high school sector. The other thing that I believe was where we were very different is that we started our work in communities that were reshaping themselves out from conflict. I had witnessed, while living 13 years in Israel, the dramatic effects of what's today called othering between Israel and Palestine peoples. And then it was, we used to talk about the us and them paradigm. So having been witness to that and seeing how destructive it is to peace building and community engagement and human flourishing, I decided that our curriculum should be tested in environments where people are reshaping themselves out from underneath violence, genocide, war. And so I went to select locations and tried and developed our curriculum and facilitated workshops and conversations with people in select communities in Uganda, Nigeria, and Rwanda.
So you were living a corporate life, really having impact, and look at what happens from the first pivot and what gets created. And one of the things that we know, and I would like each and every one of us right now to think about, when you have had an impact, when there's something that you've done that has been helpful, that has had impact, just think about, from impacting one person, even one person, what that ripple looks like. So for everyone to take a moment and really get clear in yourself about where your ripple has been.
I think beyond that, and alongside that, I think that we never really appreciate the ripple effect to the extent that we are impacting others, especially if our motivation is based in kindness, caring for others, mutual respect, even smiling at a stranger. The ripple effect. Take a smile to someone that you don't know. Let's say you're going to your local coffee shop and you just look at someone between four eyes and give them a smile. What that might do to change their mood, to uplift them, whatever it is, and how that impacts not just their lives, but the people that they meet on their way.
Absolutely. And so what was it like to, what were some of the challenges that you had in creating Mindfulness Without Borders?
Well, the challenges were more that we were innovating something that was referred to as the missing piece in education, which is called formally social emotional learning, and that we were also innovating and bringing secular mindfulness-based practices into school systems. So I think the challenge was to just do our work with a sense of not just appreciation for the diversity of perspectives that we were facing, but to believe in the importance of the work and to remain, motivated that this work can change lives. And I think from my perspective was, no matter what, I feel that education is the cornerstone and the key to both self-transformation and societal transformation. So I just had to stay focused on that and build a team, because it wasn't a lone venture, a solo venture. I was protected and embraced and loved by a team of individuals that made Mindfulness Without Borders the success it is.
Yes. And what's so important and gets left out, and I'm just going to, jump in with this for a moment, is, and then we're going back to, but that, when we talk about the ABCs, the apostrophe S, for me, that S is self. That when kids are coming into school and they're talking about, they need to learn their alphabet, they need to learn how to write and read and do all of that. What's so important is that there's a person who needs to learn that. And when you leave the self and learning about the self and helping kids with themselves, that you're really missing the boat in terms of helping them be ready and prepared and open for learning. So, the space that you jumped into to help with that and to have respect for students is really so crucial.
And the thing that comes up for me right now is one of my favorite friends and colleagues, Susan Kaiser Greenland. She developed a new paradigm around the ABCs in this space of social emotional learning and mindfulness-based education, which were attention, balance, and compassion. And so exactly as you said, those are the qualities of heart and mind that really help individuals, young students especially, to navigate their lives, not just, the formal education, but the soft skills.
The soft skills are often undervalued because we're looking for, kind of something hard and fast and measurable. But the soft skills, you can't have if you have a tool, you have to put it into someone's hand, and someone needs to hold it and use it. And so when we leave the person and the self out of it, we're really not looking at the full picture. So when we're talking about all of this, how have you navigated times of, frustration and the frustration, disappointment? I mean, we don't wake up and everything's all in alignment and everything we think about just goes and, step by step, moment by moment, it's all just moving along just so well. I'm not even going to talk about my morning this morning. And but I'll assure you that there were glitches and surprises and all sorts of things. So Theo, when those times come up for you, could you share some wisdom on how you have navigated?
Yes, of course. I think that when I face, let's say, first of all, when I face failure, I look at failure as a huge gift. In other words, that it always teaches me something. And my son says, fail and fail better, because out of that failure, we're learning so much about what might be needed, what will help us steward the change that is required. And second of all, I think that when I face challenges, I accept them in a way that they don't define me. And that's what I had to learn early on in my days of lupus, that while I was facing this real serious condition, I had to learn that it isn't who I am. It's just that I am dealing with these, adverse health conditions. And that helps a lot. In other words, to address challenge is something that is typically something that arises, lingers, and eventually finds its place in my life, but not allow it to disrupt my life so that I miss moments where I can express my love to others or feel kindness from friends. Or I think that's, conditions vary all the time, and to accept the fluidity of what changes is probably where I can feel safe and thrive.
Mm-hmm. So do you, is it more of an internal process for you, or do you also reach out?
Yes, well, social connections are really vital in my life. They're what probably empower me the most to continue on my way. Without friendships, especially, my close friends that know what I do from day to day, they're the ones that hear my challenges, that experience my vulnerabilities, and that are there to show more friendship and love. So I think it's a bit of both. I work on some self-talk, okay, this is what's happening today, and I'm not going to let it interrupt my day and catastrophize. Rather, I'm going to accept this is the condition I have to face, and work through it moment by moment by moment. And that's where the mindfulness piece comes in. I feel where the challenge is in my body. I rest with it. I, take time to reflect and then be skillful in the choices that I need to make in order to overcome whatever it is that's whatever I'm facing.
So I'm going to just take a moment and comment and highlight this for people, because, and particularly sometimes women, feel like, well, I'm forging ahead on this, and this is, I'm not going to bother anyone. I don't want to trouble anybody. I don't want to bother anyone. I can handle this. I should be able to handle this. And that when we step out of that space and we go into, all you need is one. You don't need a whole chorus. All you need is one. And when you step out and go into your community, whatever that may look like, and just tell people what's going on, and you may feel at your most depleted space, and it's at those times that people can even bubble up with even more, with even more compassion, more caring, more love. And it's not necessarily that we're looking for the answers, although sometimes we are. Sometimes we're hoping to work it through with someone to get to clarity, but that not to underestimate the power of having people, ask for help, ask for listening time, and have people rise to that and want to give that to you.
I couldn't agree more with your words and your insights. In fact, all our programs at Mindfulness Without Borders and all that I do right now really values the power of social connection, of human connection, where you can create brave spaces with your friends to be transparent, to talk, to share your truth, and to hear from others, and to be open to new perspectives, and feel that you both have a sense of belonging to the community that you're in, and agency to be supportive for what it is that you need. So well said, Lisa.
So, Thea, when you were putting together your advisory council, and full disclosure, I was incredibly honored to serve on the advisory council of Mindfulness Without Borders. Could you talk about, who else, was part of that advisory council and wanted to join in that?
The advisory council was made up of thought leaders like yourself, who were in different sectors in society, who had the knowledge that, of course, I felt would be an addition to what we were developing. So at the beginning, Daniel Goleman, who is the founder of social emotional intelligence, Richie Davidson was so behind my Dr. Richard Davidson from University of Wisconsin, who has an amazing program on healthy minds, and he really helped me from the neuroscientific side. Deepak Chopra, whose book that I read, I'm sorry, I have to remember the name of the book, Quantum Healing, was instrumental in the transformation that I needed to move through my lupus. Mm-hmm. I knew that his understanding of the mind and health and the interrelationship of both was important. So there were Susan Kaiser Greenland.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna kind of hop in here, because what I'm getting at here is, and you're so generous and really speaking of the, the brilliance and the expertise of the people on the advisory council. What I'm getting at here is who it is that who gravitated to you, who wanted to be with you, who was there to support and be part of this. And these are the people who you attracted and who wanted to be part of this. So, you know, we can look at all of that, but that this is also a function of what you did. And you know, I keep doing this with you, Theo. And so, and of owning, you know, really of owning kind of what things look like. So I'm going to go into another question, which is, Theo, you're an author, you're in your new venture, you've had another pivot from Mindfulness Without Borders to your, giving wellness and giving wellness expertise for free to people. So what's your next
Well,
disruption?
I'm facing the knowledge that we all have that mental health is a global crisis. I mean, I believe the statistic is something like 615 million people live with a mental health condition. And if I'm correct, 60% of those people are not getting the support they need. So after passing on the leadership to Global Minds Collective to be the new generational leadership that Mindfulness Without Borders needed to continue to flourish, I wanted to fill in the gap in this mental health crisis by providing free resources to people who are suffering from any type of mental health condition that could help lift them up, to inspire them to maybe think differently, and to just be able to write once a month themes that are basic themes around mental health, human connection, human flourishing, provide free meditations, inspirational quotes, journaling, anything possible that I could do for free so that I would be continuing my life of service and hopefully supporting others along their journey.
Yeah. So I know our time goes by incredibly quickly, and I want to thank you so very much for coming on. And so this is Theo Koffler, and she is also the author of Life Notes, which you may want to take a look at. Actually, you probably want to take a look at and should take a look at. And Theo, how can people find you?
My website is under theokoffler.com. And, I just want to say that it's so valuable every time I'm with you to have these discussions. And moreover, I just feel a deep sense of gratitude for all that you're doing. That's how I'd love to end. People will find me. There's ways. They know social media, LinkedIn. I'm available. So for those who want, they can go to theokoffler.com, which is the website is under Wellbeing Essentials.
Okay, so Theo, don't go away because we're going to have our photo moments together. But thanks everyone for coming in today. I'm Dr. RISA RYGER. If you haven't followed me yet, please follow me because I'm dropping information and videos all the time that's really helpful. People are letting me know that, and it would be really important that you let your friends know, people who could know about this and use it, and they're very implementable tips and thoughts to have for your day to help you be in your 10.0 life. Remember, positive change can happen at any point. You've never lost your opportunity, and we'll see you next time. All right, so Theo, are you ready for our moments? Hair fluff, hair fluff. Okay, one more. Thanks so much. Thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you.
See you next time. Okay, see you soon.